And we're back.
You keep messing with the music, so I don't
know
when we're actually starting.
Like, I just like to keep you on your toes. I don't want you to ever know what I'm doing over here. Just know that I'm the man with the dials.
All right. So, this is the cultural.
Yeah. Pop culture.
Do some movie reviews.
Yeah.
Ooh.
We saw 2 movies since last we spoke. Spoke on these airwaves. You and I speak all the time.
Yeah. We actually speak so much that you'd be amazed at how much we can still say on a podcast.
Yeah. Sometimes I try to save it all up, save all my good stuff.
Yeah. Try.
I could really give them something good right now. Instead, I'm going to just sit here like a blob.
I think if we probably talked about how much we talk about these things, these topics, people would just be baffled.
Yeah, well, certainly, I don't think is the way most people live their life.
Well,
Yeah.
just because I will say the simple fact that I can still have conversations with people that don't follow politics at all, because I still do watch sports. I watch, big name TV things, movies. I can do all that, but I just find it fascinating, the stuff we talk about in politics and all that other psychology, shit like that.
Yeah. Well, and it certainly is, if you ever wanted an age to be interested in it, you're living in
perfect time.
It's the
information age.
Yeah. I was going to say it's like a rotten age of politics, but it's like the golden age for talking about it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
It's like the carnival circus, the rot that is our current political situation is sort of interesting. But
it's been good.
That's not what we're talking about. We're here just to keep it light. Hey, sports, movies. So,
first topic.
Yeah, but don't talk about the second one.
No, we're going to talk about both. Actually, I would say both of them are not light topics, to be honest.
Yeah, I would definitely agree that both. We saw 2 movies. We saw A Star is Born and we saw Gosnell. Definitely not light, fun popcorn movies.
Yeah. A Star is Born, little bit more towards the first of it, maybe.
Yeah. It's a little more poppy, funnish. You got Lady Gaga in there crooning.
It's just a spoiler alert. Towards the end, you might be a little depressed.
Yeah. It doesn't end happy. So what did you think of it? Give me your thoughts first.
I thought it was a good movie overall.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the music that was in it. I thought Lady Gaga did a good job of acting for the most part.
Yeah.
I thought that the casting was pretty good. The things I didn't like about it were Bradley Cooper's constant voice that he was going for.
Oh man, come on now.
I don't know, it's just because I've seen him in so many other things I know it's not his voice. So it just made it even funnier, watching him try to do it.
He's the director, so normally people would you got somebody to reel him in, but he's like, no man, I'm acting the shit out of it right now, my voice, I'm muddy water. Come on now.
I did think him being I've liked some of the, I can't remember the ones exactly that he's done directing, but I know that he's done a couple that have been fairly good.
I'll look it up while you
but
you tell me what else you were kind of going over your list of what you didn't like.
I didn't like there were just certain things that I thought got downplayed a little bit more than they should have, and a little bit of overacting. Like I said, Lady Gaga was good for the most part. There were a couple scenes that didn't really make sense to me. The one where, she punches the dude for being rude, apparently.
Oh, right.
In the bar. Didn't really make sense.
No, this was his debut as a director.
Really?
Yeah. He was probably in some stuff you might have thought he directed, but this was his debut.
Okay. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
He's directing that new movie with Clint Eastwood, isn't he?
Bernstein?
Mule.
No, the Mule.
Yeah, The Mule.
No, that's
It's directed by Clint Eastwood.
I see that. Actually, I
Maybe he's a producer on some stuff that I've seen.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, I'll tell you what he was producer on. He was producer on Limitless, The Word, Silver Linings Playbook, American Hustle, American Sniper, War Dogs.
Okay, so that's what it is.
Yeah, he's been a producer on a lot of stuff.
I got you. Okay, so yeah, I mean, for first time directing, it's an okay movie. It's just certain little things like I think that scene in the bar, like where Lady Gaga freaks out, like I think that was a weird way to transition into them having to go do something else where they become close.
Yeah.
Like I think it could have been done better, like to transition to that. I think the transition was lazy, a little bit of it.
I think there was a lot of I agree. I think with your point you were saying that it's like a lot of it felt kind of like spackled over, right?
Yeah.
Whereas like there was the things that you thought you were gonna see, or just like their relationship kind of goes like it's super fast the way everything kind of happens. I mean they cover a lot of ground, so start taking like shortcuts.
Well, it's just like like the scene where she's in the bathtub and he's like an asshole to her, like about her lyrics becoming like. Poppy. Bullshit.
Yeah.
Just,
because like he finds her, like the plot of the movie is like he's like this like well-known country star. He finds this woman in a bar in like a like a burlesque show, and he's totally just like he's cool with her. He's like you're coming with me, hop on my horse. And
so he
turns her into a star
because she sings well. So then they go out. And she starts to tell him some of the stuff that she's written. Like, they go over some of the songs,
Yeah.
And so he likes how she tells stories, basically.
Right. And then, like, she starts to become, like, this, like, bigger than him. She starts to become, like, a pop star, basically. And she gets, like, this producer. And, like, it seems like that should be kind of, like, where the story is, right? Where it's, like, her losing her soul as she starts to become a pop star.
Yeah,
and, like,
but it
Bradley
never goes
Cooper,
that way.
Yeah, like, it kind of, like... whatever. It's actually cool. You're a pop star, and then like Bradley Cooper, like
makes a fool out of himself.
Yeah, starts having his issues with alcohol, and that sort of becomes. I guess like that was like a problem with the movie. It was a little unfocused. I agree with you though that I thought Lady Gaga did a good job. Well, I mean a lot of the role was singing. Like it's a lot of music, so it's like she gets to. And this is actually what I was saying to you. It's like she can't hide the fact that she's a pop star.
Yeah.
She doesn't look like somebody who's just like, oh, I don't know. What is this? What is this mic? It's so... Oh, I guess I'll just sing out loud. And then like she's doing like her, I've been touring for 10 years, like crooning and like, like her emotional gestures is like, this is somebody who knows how to plug into that thing and is selling it. Like, did not have the feel at all of somebody who's just like up there for the first time. But it's like, she can't help herself. I liked also the fact that I think it's I don't want to say brave, but it's sort of like commendable, like to have such a stripped down version of herself out there, where she's kind of this person who's usually like in like 5 tons of makeup, like elaborate costumes and all this shit.
Yeah.
But
I think she's gone away from that recently though, even before the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, like, when she came out, like, the meat suit, like, like, it's just some weird shit.
Yeah.
And I think recently she's calmed down on that a lot. She comes out more often with not as much makeup. She's been wearing her hair, down and just, like, she's been a lot more calm after she got big.
Yeah. Maybe she felt like she needed that, but now she's more comfortable being herself. I just like... It's nice to get to like appreciate somebody's like her voice and her like her look and like her like
she's a
like,
great singer.
Yeah, like and like the beauty of like just her like her face and stuff.
With all the extra shit.
Yeah, exactly. Like you just get to see her as a person. It's like she's like just pretty in that way. Like and I also like even went as far as like it was actually funny. It was so funny they were saying that. Like I was looking at her face like. I don't know if this is good directing or just like it just happened to work out this way. But like I said, I was looking at her face, just kind of like appreciating her, like, like what she looked like. Like I like to look at this kind of shit in people, just like the imperfections and things that make them sort of like strange looking, but like, it makes them
themselves.
Yeah, exactly. And so like I was actually looking at her nose, thinking like, yeah, I like that. Like, like it's a big nose, and she's like out there, and then like it actually started to become like a thing. Like for them, like like I was noticing that before they said it, where he's like, "You got a big fucking nose," and I was like touching it.
Yeah. No, I do like that too.
Yeah, I'll say this though. Another thing about his character, or I guess I look at it a little more cynically now that I know that he's directing. It's like the same thing where Matt Damon and like Ben Affleck directed Good Will Hunting, and like the main characters are like awesome. It's like hey, we're poor working class schmoes, but we're also geniuses. Like, but Bradley Cooper is like this like alcoholic, but he has
a great person.
Yeah, but he's just like the nicest guy in the world. He's like sweet to everybody. He's the kind of guy that walks, he's like a country star, but he walks into a drag show and is like, whatever. I love everything. Like, I was like, it's like, okay, he's cool. Even when he's drunk, he's like, he's not like, he's super like,
I can see
attentive to her.
Yeah, I will see how you're cynical because he directed it and like that's the character he plays. I do enjoy the fact that they finally took a different route with the alcoholic.
Yeah, that's actually, but that's actually why I ended up liking it. I'm just a little bit like,
yeah, exactly.
It's like, okay, good. Actually, I like the fact, like, that's actually exactly what I was thinking when it was starting off. Like, okay, I like the fact that he's not like typical, like, fall down, like, I'm an angry drunk, or, I'm just like a sloshy embarrassment. Like, for the most part, he held his shit, like, pretty well.
Yeah. Well, and there are times in the movie where, he stops drinking for a while. I think it just really showed the side of it that's like, this is a disease, Like, and I don't fully agree with that, but I also don't fully agree with the other part of it. I think it's one of those issues that's, like, right in the middle. That's, like, you have to have, like, some self-control about yourself, but it's also hard to break those habits.
Right.
So I don't agree on the whole, like, it's 100% just a disease, and, like, there's nothing you can do besides, like, getting help and, like, all this other stuff.
I'd say disease is the wrong word. People should use the word, like, it's a compulsion. Like, you know? Like, I think that would, right? Like,
well, I think the reason people use disease is kind of like what we were talking about on the last episode, was, like, the way people use the word. People use that because it's easy to understand that it's, when they think disease, it's something that you have, that you can't control, per se, and that's why they use that word.
Yes,
because not as many people understand the compulsion, like, because it's a bigger, it's just a bigger word that they don't hear as often.
Yeah, and it doesn't have the same sort of sympathy that you think of with disease. Like, when you think of disease, think of something totally out of your control. It's just sort of a tragedy of your circumstance, and no one like looks at people that have diseases and be like, well, you got lung cancer. Why don't you have more self-control? Like,
I don't know. Some people might think that way just because the whole smoking thing.
Yeah, well, I guess if it's like attached to your lifestyle, but if you got some like, like, oh, you got a lymphoma on your neck, like, out of nowhere, like, whatever. But yeah. So I mean, I overall, it's kind of like just an enjoyable, fun movie because of so much music, but it did feel like an very unfocused movie. I mean,
it definitely needed a little bit more.
Yeah, like,
to draw it in.
Yeah, exactly. Like, just to have something like, this is clearly where we are, and like, this is where we're going. It's like a lot of those like emotion, like a lot of like the arcs of things didn't like, pan out to anything. Like, they certain stories kind of flatline in different areas.
Yeah. I mean, I like it when movies go the opposite way of what you think is going to happen, but I don't think that's what happened in that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like, instead of going the opposite way, it just died.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, him basically being like, well, you're kind of a sellout now, and, like... that whole thing.
That would have been like the traditional
it
route.
Just died out. Like,
yeah.
It was just like, meh.
Yeah, it's like, you're kind of a sellout now.
Like, they could have gone, like, she just went even more pop, and she was like, fuck you, I'm big now.
Yeah.
But, like, they didn't do that. It was just like,
you're
drunk.
I would have liked that.
It's going to die right here.
I would have liked that approach where it's like, yeah, I'm Pop and I'm fucking awesome, bitch. I'm Lady Gaga. Didn't you fucking recognize me, you dumb schmuck?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I like it when movies go that route just to piss people off.
Yeah. I mean, I would have appreciated it if somebody
Yeah.
would have made, like, if, you know, they would have made the argument that way. Because, like, they were actually, it was very unjudgmental about the fact that, like, about pop music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, pop music is kind of easy to make fun of and to look at somebody who's doing it and kind of be like, well, look at you. You suck. It's not real music. Real music is Bradley Cooper without there with his guitar, you know?
Yeah.
It didn't really go that route, though. It was just kind of like, we're totally cool with it. Like, totally. Like, she's a pop star and that's cool. And, like, he didn't like it, but then he had a drink and was okay with it.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right.
Overall, though, I would tell people to go watch it.
I would say wait. I would say wait for it. You could tell that it's his first directing job. Not, yeah.
It's not one that you have to avoid.
Yeah, I would say I was expecting a little more from the movie. If you go into it, I'd say have lower expectations because it feels like it's getting all this like critical praise, like it's amazing.
Just because it has Lady Gaga in it.
Yeah, maybe. Like,
it's got a pretty big cast too. Like, I mean.
Oh yeah, Dave Chappelle's in there. Eddie Griffin plays like nobody. Like Eddie Griffin plays a preacher for like
He
one
plays a lot
scene.
of nobodies, to be honest.
Yeah, but I mean, he's not like huge. He's not Dave Chappelle, but you know, he's big enough.
Yeah.
He's headlined his own movies. He's just
Undercover Brother.
I love that movie.
That's a good movie.
I think Undercover
enjoy
Brother
that
is a totally underrated comedy. It's hilarious.
It's a great comedy.
Yeah. Slaves, cook that chicken. Tell me any white man knows about 7 herds of spices. Conspiracy, brother.
I would say it's hard to transition after that one, though.
Yeah, well, into the next movie that we saw, which was a lot heavier subject matter.
I would say it was overall, I would say it did better than my expectations for it, though.
Yeah, I would say like we're talking about Gosnell, like the movie about the Kermit Gosnell, who was like
You probably didn't hear about him because the media didn't cover it.
Yeah, he was kind of a prolific abortion doctor in West Philadelphia who was giving illegal late-term abortions and also doing like full breech births, where the law says if you are aborting a fetus at that age, you have to kill it inside the womb. I don't actually know why they have that law.
I don't know.
Doesn't exactly make sense to have it
because you can't see it.
Yeah,
before
right.
It happens.
Like, yeah,
mostly.
I guess that's what it is. Like, it's like if you kill like that baby inside the womb, it's fine. But if it comes out and like starts breathing, and then you snip the neck, which is what he was doing, then it's illegal. So he got tried for murder of these babies because of that, and also for a woman that died in his clinic who he was overdosing, and the guy was just running a terrible clinic, like in terms of health and safety. Like he was having like untrained interns, like 15-year-old girls like giving up, like performing abortions on these women, like inducing them to labor and then killing,
and giving them prescription medication, shit like that.
So like the guy was like a pretty horrible doctor. It was just like the story of his trial. Like, and when I went into seeing it, I'm with you. I thought my expectations was going to be kind of like a movie of the week kind of drama.
Well,
it was going to look like something that
was going to look like
produced for like a Hallmark movie or something.
Yeah, Hallmark movies are like those movies like God's Not Dead. It's like they have a good message, but like they're not well funded, and they're just
they look cheap, and like
the actors are kind of a little second rate.
Yeah,
I mean.
All that kind of
exactly.
shit.
Like, it's just hard to watch sometimes.
Yeah, when you told me that, I wasn't like, when you said like you want to go see it, like I was like, all right, I'll go see it, but I was totally not jazzed about it, like because I really thought that's what it was going to be. Yeah. But there was actually some, I mean, it wasn't
top of the line.
Yeah, top of the line, but like I'd say there was 2 like really good performances. Let me look up the names of the actors just to show love.
Which ones?
I thought the woman who played the attorney
Yeah, I don't know her name, so you have to look that one up. Who else?
And the guy that played Gosnell.
Yeah, both of the people I don't know.
Earl Billings was then the guy who played Gosnell.
No,
and
he did a good job.
Sarah Jane Morris, maybe. Let me actually click on it.
Why didn't you just go to IMDb?
Oh, I just like to listen. We've
It's
already
the place
established.
You should always go to when.
I am, but we've already established I'm the Googler. That's my thing. Sarah Jane Morris.
No.
Yeah, so I thought both their performances really good, especially the guy who played Gosnell, because he wasn't given like. I also appreciated this about the movie, like even though the guy, I mean, clearly the people that made the movie are pro-life, and they probably look at him as a monster.
Yeah.
They didn't go over and out of their way to portray him as like evil. It's not like he walked around and was like, I thought he was gonna be groping the interns or like, cursing or like, I want to kill babies, I hate babies or something like that. Yeah, I thought it was gonna be over the top with their messaging, but they did a good job of staying like just faithful to what happened. After the credits showed, they were showing a lot of where they got, there's a part where he's playing like classical music on the piano as they're raiding his house, searching for stuff. Which
you're like, wow, that's kind of creepy.
Yeah.
Like they actually show footage of that happening.
Yeah, so it's like you might think it's like some over like the top movie trope of like, like the
they're
Hannibal
trying
Lecter.
to make him look weird.
Yeah, exactly. Like the Hannibal Lecter thing, where it's like, yes, come in, but it's like that's actually what happened. And so they did a good job of sticking to it. But then the actor who played him did a good job of making him there was something that was off-putting about him and very creepy in very subtle ways. Like they didn't give him a lot of stuff to chew on to make him like that, but he did a good job with just little ticks and just the way he smiled and the way he said his words. It all did a good job of of bringing that out, that he's there's something a little off at him. And I think if you do a job like that, it's gonna make you a little off, a little creepy.
Probably.
Yeah. I mean, because you're just seeing something, even if you don't have to be a totally evil person to get into it.
Because you can't divorce yourself from the psychology of it.
Yeah.
So when actors have to play roles like that, man, it can mess them up. I mean, look what happened to Heath Ledger when he played the Joker.
Yeah.
When you delve that deep into something like that, it can mess you up a little bit.
Yeah, and but I'm talking about the actual doctor. I'm saying he might have not. The doctor might not have been an evil person when he went into that field. But I think after 30 years of performing abortions like that, these late trimester abortions, at 6 months is absurd. I mean, they showed the picture of one of the babies that. From the movie, the way it portrayed it, this kind of turned the case, and I have no reason to doubt that, because when you look at the baby, that was they were the babies that were being birthed could have survived outside of the womb. It looked like. I mean, this one baby was I showed you the picture of it.
Yeah.
You go into the Gosnell
It was
movie.
probably bigger than I was when I was born.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like a fully grown fetus, and it looked like a fully grown child.
Yeah.
Baby, and he killed it. And so, I think, once you get into, a field where you have to see... even, doctors have this sort of issue, where not that they become creepy, but, it messes with your psychology, or if you're working, a morgue or something.
You get to where you don't respond to people the same way that other people do.
Yes, exactly.
You're almost, on the spectrum a little bit.
Yeah, it starts to fuck up your psychology to be viewing people, viewing so much death and become so accustomed to it that doesn't affect you. You start to react to people in a way that you just you never would have normally, or that you wouldn't without having to have this without having the experience of killing thousands of babies.
Yeah.
And there was a part in the movie, and this is a part I would actually like to know, where the lawyer is arguing the case for abort, he's arguing. The defense attorney is making the case with a woman who performs, more legal, more
just ran a
legally
better clinic.
Yeah, she runs a better clinic. Thank you. Yeah, his clinic is total a shithole, and if he didn't go to jail for the murders, he should at least be fined out the ass for all the health code violations. It's a dirty, disgusting place he was running. So and then so like the woman who ran like a much cleaner clinic and was doing things, but was doing things the sanctioned way, was what was it? She was like she was kind of explaining the process, and the guy has her run through the process to make the case that it's actually more humane to like what he was doing by having the baby get born and then like snipping its neck was more humane than the sanctioned way of aborting a fetus at that age, which was like you have to go in and like you stab it in the heart with
potassium.
Yeah,
chloride.
potassium chloride to kill it, and then you have to breach the back of its neck with a tube and suck its brains out so that the skull will collapse, and then you could like take it out by its foot and like just like pull it out. I mean, it's disgusting. Like it's absolutely it's a horrible practice.
Yeah.
And this is actually hold on, wait. Let's here, you want to put the dog out?
Yeah.
All right.
She's getting a little antsy.
Yeah. Put her out to pasture. Give her a super late term abortion. Well, now that I'm here. Yep. So that was what we did. I just decided to go see this old movie. What's our idea of a fun night? Hey, abortion doctor movie. That's how we have fun on our off days.
Go and watch the Gosnell movie.
Yeah.
That's how into politics we are.
Yeah. So anyway. Yeah, so like I just thought that scene was funny. Because it's like you're not really making the case for what your guy's doing.
I think that's actually a legit like way to try to make that like at least in the mind of like judicial, like this. It's like, look, like you're saying you're doing a better job, but really you're just doing the same thing he is.
Yeah.
Like
that's true.
So that's like trying to win the moral part of it rather than the like the legal.
Yeah, no, it actually, it's not totally unsurprising that he would make that or make that case, because you're right. Yeah. It does
like you're already trying to defend somebody that like is coming in gonna look bad as far as
it's actually the reason like why I think the pro-life case is stronger. Because at some point in there, it's like everybody kind of recognizes that it's life. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, and then it's like, so then what's like the cutoff? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what you're debating at that point.
Yeah, it's like, so how come all of a sudden it becomes life? Like, what's the magical thing that happens, like, at 7 months that doesn't happen at 6 months and 29 days or whatever it is, or whatever you want to set the cutoff. It's like, what are you bracing that distinction off of? Because at some point it becomes life, and then it's no longer about choice. It's about, you never have the choice to murder somebody unless it's in self-defense. Yeah. Which, so, yeah, but anyway, that's I thought that scene was funny just because, the guy, the director,
Nick Searcy, baby.
Yeah, he was the one playing the defense attorney, and he was. But like I said, they actually did a good job of not making it too. They didn't beat you over the head with it, and I appreciated that, because it seems like kind of movie that it would, but it was just like kind of just tell you the story, tell you how it happened, show you, like they didn't even, if they really wanted to beat you over the head with it, they would have showed you. Like the baby that got aborted, that we were saying was like our size, but they didn't. They were like,
like if you want to see it, like you can go to our website.
Yeah, but they thought it was too graphic to put in the movie.
Yeah,
and it is. I mean, it is pretty messed up, because obviously it's like I'm gonna click on that.
Yeah, no, I mean I thought it was well done. I like it for the simple fact that it shows that like, with a little bit of like, like push, like you can get a movie like that made.
Yeah.
I
wonder how much that cost to make. Do you have any idea?
I don't know how much it cost to make. I know that they raised at one point $2.3 million, like to the like through donations, like from people that wanted them to make the movie.
Yeah, well, it's made like $1 million, $1,300,000 something like that.
Yeah, it's doing good.
1.3 mil, easy mil.
I mean, it was. Yeah, it was definitely better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
So that was what.
And just like it's just like the movie, or just like the trial itself, which didn't get media coverage. The movie itself doesn't get
coverage at all.
Yeah, exactly. It's not getting advertised out there in any way, shape, or form, or no one's going to talk about it, even though it didn't break the top 10 like that one article said it did.
It did on one day.
Yeah, one day it was in the top 10, but it was like the 12th, opening movie. And for a movie with no publicity, that's not nothing.
Yeah. It's definitely a good like indie showing.
Yeah.
I mean, and I also just like the fact that they tried to stick by just like this, like they tried to remain as close to the story as they could by using like the transcripts from the court. Like they really tried to stick with like just like interviews that they did with the people that were involved, the court documents, like they tried to go off of that as much as they could.
I don't like message movies when like they try to beat you, even if it's like a message I agree with.
Yeah.
I don't like message movies that are just beating you over the head with their opinion. It's like, yes, we got it.
The two people that produced it, Philin McAleer, I don't remember his last name, and then Anne McElhenney.
Are those the guys that did the Michael
Brown? They did the Michael Brown thing that was like a play, a play, and then they also did Frack Nation, and they did another thing about Al Gore, how wrong he was.
Yeah, they did. The Michael Brown one was one I know him for, where like they did a play that was basically just like they just took out the transcripts and did them.
Yeah.
I appreciate that kind of stuff. I mean, I really do appreciate that. Like, I like, I like for as much as people can to just give the facts and let people draw their own conclusions.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to like real life events. Like, the more, I mean, it's inevitable to some things. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but I guess they were trying to show the woman's point of view. But like, it's clear when the guy, for some reason, was like had babies, like the fetuses, like. Or the baby's feet's like cut off and kept in a drawer, and then like you see her playing with her baby's foot. Yeah. Like, it's clear what they're drawing there. And like, you could say that's a little bit of an emotional like manipulation.
No, they're definitely trying. There are definitely several moments like that.
Yeah, there are. Yeah,
I mean, the whole like back and forth between the lawyer and that other lady, like about the abortion place. Like you don't have to put that in there, but you're trying to show people like there's no difference,
Right.
Like that's a message they're trying to get in there. Is there's no difference between what these people do.
Yeah.
It's just like they make it seem better, but really it's not. Like that's what they're going for.
Yeah, and it's so true though. It's like if like so you're telling me it's like if I kill this thing in your stomach, it's fine, but if I just like take it out, like the transition from that area to like, you know what I mean? It's like all that's covering like it is like, like
it's about
this
a foot.
Yeah, exactly. Like a foot of stomach. So like if I just take it, like if I move it 1 foot over there, all of a sudden it's like, oh no, now it's alive. But I can kill it in there. It's like, come on, that doesn't hold. That's at least make it. I mean, that is way too late to be but he was also doing some that were later term than like was allowed, so like that's also a factor to keep in mind there. But like it still seems like 24 weeks is like
6 months, man.
Yeah, 6 months is like way too much for anybody who's like reasonably looking at it to.
Yeah, a baby can survive. Like it's very hard for them to, but they can survive if they're born at 6 months.
Yeah, I mean it just looks so much like a baby, where it's like your intuitions like would kick in if you saw it. Like, at least we should be able to agree on that line. Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously the people that are pro-life, like, you would give them that line and they would push further back. Like, that's true, but you should at least be able to, like, everybody should agree at least on that line, even if you don't have a good reason for why you're setting the line. You know what I mean? Just the fact that it's like you can look at it and be like, that's a baby.
Well, I actually heard Ben Shapiro talk about it, like why they've because it used to be the argument even that Hillary Clinton made was that abortions should be available but rarely used.
Yeah.
Like there was an exact way that she said it.
Rare, legal, rare, and sad, or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Hold on,
but
I'll look up the wording now.
But the whole point of that is like they gave up on that argument because
I think it was rare, legal, and safe.
Yeah. I think rare I think comes last. But I think
yes, it was
right.
safe, legal, and rare.
Safe, legal, and rare. They had to give that up. According to this is just off of Ben Shapiro's opinion, but they basically gave that up is because when you say that it should be rare, that you are actually saying that morally there is something wrong with it, and that you can't give that ground. You can't say that it should be rare because there's something immoral about it, because you are acknowledging that something is immoral about doing it. So therefore, like, you have to go with like, oh, it's just a clump of cells. You should be able to do it whenever you want.
Yeah, well, I definitely think it's for them. I think it's something that Republicans should run on more strongly, because it's a good, like, they have a better argument. Like, I think it's,
because you can divorce it from the religious aspect of it. You can.
Well, and it's just like what I was saying right there, where it's like the cutoff doesn't really make sense. But like at 7 months, we all like you can just see it. At 7 or 8 months, you can just like.
I was born at 8 months.
What?
I was born at 8 months.
Yeah, me too. Oh, that's why we like each other. We're just too fucking patient. Let's get it over with.
Coming out fighting.
Early breach. So yeah, it's just like the line you're setting, like it becomes arbitrary at a point, where like the people that are pro-life get to just have one like stance that's like clear, and it's just like, like it is what it is. Because then you start to become like, what makes any life like valuable?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? If you're just going to be like, well, even if it's what is a life at 5 months, but we're just going to say we don't value it, then it's like, why is that life not valuable at 5 months? And then like, why is it valuable as a toddler?
Well, and then you get into the whole aspect that it's led to, like in the Scandinavian countries, where like you're just like, it doesn't matter when it is, but like if they find out that you have like Down syndrome or something like that, you just immediately just like, nope. Not gonna happen.
Yeah, well, that's when you start thinking like, well, then like the life.
Then you would start assigning values to different people's lives.
Well, you start to look at people purely like utilitarian objects, and like they're no longer really valuable. We're just making like like we'll kill them if they're
how far do you take it?
Yeah, we'll kill them if they're if it's going to inconvenience us in one way or the other. But the fact that it's like life isn't actually precious. It's just it just is something that is so it's like we're not going to just kill people because we don't think like that does anything. But in this stage, it's fine to kill it.
Yeah, you start to get into things like, well, if they're born and after they're born, like immediately we find out like they have some like rare disease that's gonna like be really expensive and like all this other stuff, like can you just kill them then?
Yeah.
Like, oh, their life's gonna be bad, so we're just deciding now for them that their life isn't worth living.
Yeah, like, and if you did that, like if you could do that test at 8 months in the womb, are we gonna say like you could find aborted at that age? It's like, then what's like the difference between that and like just waiting for it to be born? And like, or what if you can only do the test at 2? Like, can you just kill it like then? Like then like what's like the difference there between the 8-month fetus and like the 2-year-old child?
Yeah. Like
if the calculation is just like, oh well, it's going to become a burden, so
yeah.
Well, that was that of course that movie ends up like not being pop culture, but You know, I mean, that is like the subject matter of the movie. But I think Republicans should run stronger on that because it just seems like somewhere where they have a good chance of being like they get to be the moral people in there. Like, because normally the arguments are kind of like these like economic arguments that are like they're kind of stale and they don't really impassion people. You know?
Well, and I think they could actually draw a lot more on the minority communities because the minority communities are actually much more religious.
Yes.
As far as like, you know, driving that point home, like they could definitely win more on that with minorities.
Yeah, they would definitely find some allies there in like the religious community, which, you know, is obviously strong for, you know, immigrants and for minorities in the country. So before this episode goes super long again, we didn't talk about the news moves so fast. That's why I said to you when we put the Kanye Trump, like Kanye was at the White House, like and this was only on Friday.
Yeah, I was gonna say it went so fast.
It was like
when it happened, like, you know,
it was
I mean, we wanted to talk about it, but it's just like
we didn't have time.
Gone,
I left for a couple of days, but only a couple of days, and it's
it's
already like that's old news.
Nobody's
like,
even talking about it anymore.
Yeah, it's like who gives a crap? Like we're talking about.
I mean, think about it. Like literally, what 2 days? Was it 2 days ago that... No, it was yesterday that Senator Warren came out with the thing. 2 days ago.
Yeah.
So 2 days ago, she comes out with that DNA test. It's talked about for a day, and now it's old news.
Yeah.
Like, it's a meme that comes up a little bit, but other than that, nobody's talking about it anymore.
Yeah. It just like...
Now we're back on the Kagoshi, or whatever his name is. That dude that got killed in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, that's sort of, and the horse face thing is like kind of like the big thing.
That's already dead. That died an hour after it happened. They bashed him for like an hour. They were like, "Oh, he's degrading women." It's like, no, he's degrading one woman.
And it's also like it's just kind of like what he does.
Yeah.
Like even if he is degrading women,
I just hate it when they. Like, when you attack somebody singularly, you're not necessarily attacking everybody that has anything to do with that person.
Yeah.
Like, you're just attacking that person.
And especially when you're somebody who attacks people.
Yeah.
Like, you're somebody who's like...
He's attacking somebody that attacked him as well.
Yeah, he's just a crazy little, like, feral creature, and he gets caught into corners and starts biting at things.
Horseface.
He's like, yeah, she's a whore. Rawr, don't. Like, you know, every time he feels the slightest aggrieved by anybody, like, you know, he won't let it go, and he's petty and small, and all those things are all true. But it's like, at this point.
It's fun to watch.
Yeah, but at this point, people don't really, like. I'd be very surprised if that was a thing for somebody that was like, that's it. You know what I mean? Like, one side or the other. Like, you know what I mean? It's not like there was anybody who's on the fence about him. That's not going to be that's not the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah, for sure.
That is just.
That's why they stopped talking about it immediately after it happened.
It can handle
a lot. It's not worth it.
Yeah, it can handle all the. I shouldn't say straw. That's not the hay that broke the horses. Yeah, you know, there's a pun there somewhere. But yeah. Like, that's, I don't think anyone really, like, that doesn't even, this is Trump world we're living in. You know what I mean?
That's very true.
Like, we've been doing this dance for nearly 3 years now. Like, we're really going to pretend Horseface, like, he's going to take he's going to wake up, take a shit tomorrow and tweet out something that's more crazy than that. We didn't talk about his tweets about Elizabeth Warren, which some of my favorite things, like.
At first he lies. He's like, I never said that. And then he realizes what actually happened.
Yeah.
So he's like, oh, I can use this.
Yeah, and then he's like, she's a disgrace. Elizabeth Warren, who some call Pocahontas. I wish he acted like offended, like, oh.
Oh, I can't believe they said it.
Oh, how could you call her Pocahontas? Remember when he said to those Indian, like, the wind talkers, the World War II vets? He's like, we have
painting of Andrew Jackson.
Yeah. He's like, we have an Indian in the Senate. We call her Pocahontas.
They're like,
yeah. What's up? That's a good one, right? Come on, people.
Just hilarious.
I love this. I love this guy. Hey, it's Guancho. Just being totally offensive.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
So yeah, I mean, I think this about Kanye and Kanye's whole thing. I mean, people are very like lazy about the whole Kanye thing, and it's weird. It's actually I actually see this on both sides of it.
Yeah.
Obviously, the right likes him more, but it's like they shouldn't like him because he's pro-Trump.
Yeah,
because he's not.
No. I mean, you can
he's
see
not,
it too. Like
he's not.
Ben Shapiro will talk about it. Like, you know, he's like, look, he said some things that have helped us, but he's like, this still is not like a guy that we should be putting all our eggs in his basket. You know, like,
yeah, in his
basket,
basket,
because he's bound to say something that's not, you know, for us.
Well, the thing is though, it's like even like his whole thing with like Trump and the MAGA hat has nothing to do with like politics to him.
Yeah.
Like he has a message, like, and it's an important message for like Republicans, and I could see why they like it from that perspective of saying like he says, you know, you need to be able to think for yourself, and I want and he's actually he has like what he has is like a message of unity. Mm-hmm. You know, like that's the thing that he's trying to bring in his like Kanye way. Yeah. Like he said, I heard him on an interview say like, I like Trump's like campaigning style with Bernie Sanders politics. So like that's where like he is politically, and it's like exactly. But like if the people I like seeing like all these people that are just like attack him like maliciously and calling him like an Uncle Tom, and like
dude, CNN went crazy.
I mean, yeah,
like,
they said some horribly offensive things. Like
yeah, it was fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, they were like, you know, they're all getting on there and saying like, here's what happens when Negroes don't read, and they're all laughing about it. Like, you know, I mean, like really like. Like out of bounds, I think, especially from like news organizations.
Well, one person brought in what Ray J said about it.
Yeah,
clearly, if anybody knows how his wife got famous, you understand Ray J. So they asked him about it. Yeah, that's how low they were going.
Very
like, trying to
dirty
insult
tactic.
Him. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It has nothing to do with like anything, of course. You know what I mean? It's just totally. Or like him having like has nothing to do with it. But like my point is like if those people, you know, like if they heard him say like, oh, he has studied Bernie Sanders like politics, but it's like he's also saying that you should be able to think for yourself and not be like kowtow to anybody, which is like obviously for him like that's what he likes about Trump. Yeah. Like that's the specific thing he likes about Trump and like his campaign without like his politics. Like he likes the fact that like he's somebody who's like against all odds achieving the impossible and against all criticism being the person that he wants to be. Like, and that's all that Kanye sees with that, and he doesn't actually care about like the political side. No. So like for them that's like but like, you know, you should not just attack but they attack him like as if he's like like all of a sudden he's like a staunch like Republican and like supports, you know, Trump and all his policy agendas, when he's just saying like, I just like this attitude and I want people to be together. Yeah. You know, like he's saying like what should be a pretty like, yes, I mean, isn't that what everybody wants?
That they don't want unity. Like they talk about coming together, but like they don't.
Well, I just think they see anything that could possibly be seen as like positive for Trump, or see Trump in any sort of likable light as like that is just unacceptable.
No.
You know, unacceptable. Because
it was fun to watch.
Yeah, and he was hilarious in his meeting. You watched it, right? You watched the whole thing? Oh, yeah. He's like, I'm like a fine wine. He's like, you got to open up and let me breathe. You asked your question, but I'm not going to answer that. And like, I'm going to like say, and he was showing him like a plane that was like supposedly powered by like.
Right. He's our president has to be the freshest.
Yeah. Our president has to
I love at one point, he's like, no, it's illegal guns. It's illegal guns. Yeah. We have the right to bear arms.
Some of his message is kind of political, though. Yeah, like to be like fair, like that's a little like political. He also said he's also sort of buying into what Trump says about like factories and shit.
Yeah.
Like he also said that the day afterwards.
Because he sees the black unemployment going down. So I think
that's the way maybe he views that. But like if his message is like unity and like this isn't political, it's just, it's just I want Trump to be like, I want people to be able to accept Trump and Bernie. I want to fuse these things. I want to bring people together. Yeah. You should probably stay out of the policy specifics because it hurts yourself, like, and you're being a little inconsistent. I mean, but the guy is, he's all inconsistent. You know what I mean? He's consistently inconsistent. So you can't, so it's hard to like look at that one issue and be like, well, all of a sudden Kanye is blah blah blah. Like, hey man. So I don't know.
Talking about other people that like Trump and got axed for it.
He's back. Wow. Holster that pistol, son.
Transition's on fire.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I'm talking about Roseanne because really, she was on Joe Rogan's podcast, and I think that's what you wanted to talk about a little bit more.
Yeah, and the Connors did return this week. That's why it's in the news.
Yeah, I've seen that in the news. Talking about like, it's probably not. They don't think it's going to do very well, and they think they acted a little too fast on what they did, which makes me laugh. So I hope they get destroyed.
I mean, they obviously acted too fast on what they did.
They're going to get destroyed.
People like these people that make these hiring and like firing decisions at these major companies, they need to, like take a breath, take a breathe in and then like
just let it blow over.
Yeah, exactly.
Then make a decision.
I mean, like we're saying, Kanye and Trump thing happened last week and it's already dead news.
4 days ago.
Yeah, 4 days ago, and that was way bigger, involved way bigger names, way bigger personalities, way bigger stakes than Roseanne saying that Valerie Jarrett looked like somebody from Planet of the Apes, and like if you would have waited a week and just not done anything, people would not have cared and it probably wouldn't have affected your ratings.
Exactly.
Totally. You just needed to wait. Just wait and see how much, if it's sustained criticism, then stop. But to just have this thing where it's like, I need to fire him right away. Like, she got fired the day afterwards, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, that's nuts. It's like, you haven't, did you think about it all? Like, where was the, not only see, like, the actual cost and benefit, but to just, like, reflect on, like, what happened instead of just make a snap judgment off of something, like, how do you live in this age and like take everything that happens on the internet seriously? Like remember the outrage about the woman playing the woman who wasn't gay enough playing that superhero Batgirl?
Ruby Rose?
Yeah. It's like, remember that controversy? No.
Nope, not until now.
Yeah, exactly. You don't. And nobody did. There's probably 100 controversies like that a day.
For sure.
People are just sick with the way they like entertainment these days. The way they're so like hungry and like, they want something every day. They want it different. They want it constantly. They want it now. Mm-hmm. Really, there's like people are very entitled, especially when it comes to like creatives, but I guess that's a separate issue. But the point is like they're ravenous for more and more news and more stuff to consume and be mad about. So why are you going to like pretend like their attention on any one issue is indicative of some like burning desire they have or some burning conviction they have in them that's going to sustain over longer than the period of a typical shit. Yeah. But I thought our interview on Joe Rogan was good. I actually like her now more than I did before.
I fell asleep during it, so I don't have a lot to contribute to it.
I'll just say
she was kind of crazy when it first started, so I was like, okay.
She's kind of crazy like that always, but she's like, I didn't get crazy. I stayed crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I remember she literally posted she's Jewish. She posted a picture one time of her in a Hitler mustache pulling gingerbread cookies out of an oven.
Yeah, but she was like, she's actually acting like very, like she connects to her Jewish roots very strongly. At least she does now, from what she was saying in the interview.
Yeah, like
she was like, that's why
I'm just saying she's crazy. Like,
oh yeah,
that's her.
Yeah, but there's something about a woman like that. Like, I love people that are authentic, and she seems very authentically herself, very not afraid to be out there, and like she's like self-aware and she's tough, and she's just.
Yeah.
I was really appreciating her as I was watching her. That's my kind of person.
Yeah.
I like people that are tough. I like people that are authentic, and I like people that look at things from their own. Like, you could not, like, you can't understand the way they're viewing, like, or you can't, you can understand it only if they tell you, but like, it's like a totally different world.
Yeah,
like,
you just can't relate to it.
Yeah, exactly, and it's great. It's like I love that uniqueness. It's what makes the world go round. We need more Roseanne's crazy people.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I hope she gets another show or something happens with her.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Connors will go down and somebody will give her a show.
Yeah, for sure. They talked about maybe her and James Woods doing something together.
Yeah, she said she would.
I was like, okay. Be interesting.
Her, James Wood, Nick Percy.
Seriously,
Percy.
God, get his name right.
All the misfits of
Dean Cain.
Yeah, Dean Cain. All the Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
All the Hollywood, the underground network.
Yep.
I was gonna say railroad, but I was like, that's too top notch. I'll save that for something else. You don't need to go top level with your metaphors.
Right.
There's got to be a middle ground in there. They're just a network, not a railroad. They're persecuted, but not that much.
Yeah.
They're just not allowed to.
We can recognize that it's not that bad.
Yeah, I won't fall into the language of hyperbole. We gotta stop this. The world is ending. People are dying in the streets. Yeah. All right, I think that's a good doofer.
Sounds good to me.
All right. Yeah, we're at about an hour.
Yeah.
Food's about to be here.
I like these where we have so much information we have to do two podcasts.
So much. I wouldn't say what we have is information.
No, it's information that people need to hear.
I have misinformation.
No, this is stuff people need to hear.
We have
Gotta get it out there.
Yeah, what I have is opinions, not information. I never let one, because the one would hold me back from the other. So I leave the one over here. I leave that in the information pile, and then I go off and fly in opinion land. It's so freeing.
No, you're the one that's held back.
Yeah, I know. I did.
You don't throw out that many opinions. Just let me do that.
I'm a measured speaker. I try to be anyway.
Pussy.
I'm sorry. I think I turned your mic off. Good thing I have the mobs over here. That'll be edited. Hero. I said hero. I'm going to start putting in your applause when I speak. I wish I had a board I could do that. Like, every time I speak, I put a little...
I'll just go from our account and start disliking everything.
Yeah. Boo, boo.
Everybody will see us as two-dimensional people.
Yeah. I had more respect for them before this. Boo.
Check us out on Twitter, guys.
Yeah.
We're gonna start. I'm gonna get back into it. Today has made me liked it again.
I like the way when you're swinging on Twitter, like, who's gonna get it?
It looks like Beto right now. I keep seeing his shit. I'm about to unfollow him because of this dumb shit he posts.
Yeah, I see his shit too. All right, you know what? Let's we're gonna end it here. Now we're just talking like we're talking. All right, bye bye. Okay, and thank you for listening. Do you want to thank him?
No.
So ungrateful. If you would like to email us with suggestions or mean, hateful things, you can reach us at thedeadendradio@gmail.com
or at Dead Radio USA on Twitter,
where my lucky co-host will be insulting people he doesn't like.
Yep. But remember, if you send us bad things, I will come after you.
We're just instigating war. And that'll be at the end of all of these. So now, just for God's sake, don't get us in trouble. All right. Goodbye.